Hey guys, welcome to McCree Tea. I'm your host, Jason McCree, and on this podcast, we talk about the entertainment business and all the tea and gossip that's going on in the industry right now. Let's go ahead and get started on this episode. The first episode, and we got so many topics to talk about, and that's also why it's called Newbie Alert or Too Hot to Handle. So, guys, today we're really just going to be talking about first what this podcast is about for me. How I really want this podcast to be in my shoes is just talking to people. I'm really going to start interviewing people. That's most likely going to be our next episode. Like, you never know. We're going to just try to get everything in order about interviewing people in my city, interviewing artists, interviewing influencers, interviewing anyone, okay? Also, I'm really going to be pushing talking about the entertainment industry. So I'm going to be talking about new albums coming out. I would love to react to albums. I would love to give my viewpoint on how I see the album or even just how I see the artist and their music in general. We're going to push that a lot in this because the entertainment industry is one of the biggest thing in our community right now. And especially, I'd say in a Gen Z community, because I am one myself, music is not on the back burner anymore. Music is the forefront. We're pushing music. Music has been something that's become an outlet, become a resource, has become something so influential to us that we need to focus on it and voice our opinions and also find something that we're comfortable with and knowing that we can use it all the time. Another thing that I really want to do is I'm not going to be talking about any politics. I'm not going to be trying to persuade people in any way, trying to get them to favor my decisions or my opinions, because I feel like that's very manipulative. Let's be totally honest, it is. So this, I am going to be voicing my opinions, but I'm also, hopefully you guys leave stuff in the comments too on what do you want a topic to be, or how do you want me to say something, or if you feel something is offensive, because I'm an open book. I'm going to tell you how I feel, but I'm also going to listen. This is what this podcast is. I'm listening because how you view things is how I will respond to how you view it. And on this podcast, as another topic that we're really going to push here is we're going to have a mental awareness episode about every season where we're going to talk about mental awareness. That's going to be in video format just for you guys to know, because we're going to have a YouTube channel. And it's just going to be acknowledging mental awareness within communities and getting some examples from people and really being able to speak on what we can have factual evidence and even my own experiences with mental health and being aware of my own. But let's go ahead and hop into the second topic on here because it's something that I was very shocked about, but also not at the same time, which is Cardi B and Offset getting a divorce. Because that was something I didn't expect. You know, like, guys, that was something that I think I was expecting them to separate and not fully a divorce, but I always expected Cardi B to be the one to push for it because Cardi B seems like the one who's more the initiator in their relationship. But then when she announced that pregnancy, I was shocked. Baby, I was scared. I was like, what's going on? How did I not know this? And it's funny because I saw it on Twitter and I was just like, this is brand new. And she looks so good too. Like, she always looks good pregnant. But I think it was more shocking to people and especially her fans because she did it and she's pregnant and she's getting a divorce at the same time. And then when Offset released the video of him sleeping in his car but he's also doing shows, so it's kind of weird, I think. But I feel like that's also a valued opinion, because if you look in Cardi B's shoes, but also in his, because there's something she's probably did that he didn't agree with or they argued about it, but I think he probably did more to her in the forerun. I see that she's got left alone more in their relationship and in the situations where she had to stay strong and keep on pushing their relationship, while I think he just let her deal with it alone. And I don't think that's something you should do in a relationship. But I think that's also become a new norm in our relationships of our generations, is that before it really was a give and take. I give you something, I receive something, you want something from me. It was a cohesive type of companionship, where now it's kind of turned into codependencies, and I rely on you. It's hard for you to rely on me because you don't trust me, but I still love you. It's become toxic for us, and we haven't been able to get out of it. I think also because the newer generations haven't learned the capacities of emotional balance. And what I mean by emotional balance is really being able to weigh your options emotionally and psychologically. Because if a relationship weighs on you emotionally, that's where you really have to get it out. Because if you're not firm in your emotions with this person, you're going to struggle. There's no doubt about it that the relationship is going to struggle. You're going to have problems. And I think that's what's going on with them, to where I think Cardi B finally put herself first in the relationship, because their relationship is not that it was toxic, but I don't think it was even. It wasn't what they needed it to be. And they need something. Everyone deserves a love where you give and receive, and it's always back and forth, and you feel that constant love. And if it's not constant love, you feel the companionship. You still trust that person. You know you have someone on your by your side to help you get through everything. But that's it for that topic. I don't want to get into it much, just because, I don't know them personally. I don't know what went on in their relationship. But the second topic that I'm going to really be talking about is how everybody was mad that Kamala Harris had Megan Thee Stallion perform at her rally. I don't really get why everyone was mad. I mean, I felt like Megan Thee Stallion, her campaign for body positivity and how she's inspiring everyone to live with their body and be confident. And if you want to work out, do it for you. And like, she's just all body positivity. But people felt like her lyrics, or how she cusses, or how she does all that, shouldn't be at a rally. And I don't think that's true, because it's not that she has to be professional, because I think she's always professional. But she got personally invited to perform. She was picked, and she said yes, cuz why would you turn down that opportunity? Also, when it's somebody you stand for and you're wanting to stand by their side and support their cause. I would have said yes, but some people were like, she's there rapping about all this and all this and that and bitches and da. I'm like, you don't even know the background of the song. Even if it was all the cussing and everything that you could say, we can't sit here and say Megan Thee Stallion hasn't made body positivity songs, even if she raps it in her own way, if she's cussing or not, or if how she says it. It's still body positivity. And Kamala Harris picked her for her rally. It's nobody else's decision but Kamala Harris. And she picked her. They still had a good time. I think the performance was good. She enjoyed herself. And this is after her doing a sellout tour. I even went to her concert. I'm not going to lie. It was amazing. I went in Tampa. Concert is amazing. She's a great performer. It's all set up to a T. People need to just know and it is a lot of hate going on with her, and some of it's understandable, some of it's not. But I think we don't know these artists personally, but we take everything personal. But we're not friends with these people. We don't know them. So I think my point of view especially is that I focus on music. I don't care what this person's doing in life unless I've met them and we've grown a bond. If I haven't met this person and grown a bond, I don't really care. I'm not about to be all around and just doing this and that about caring how they see things. But I can't say the same thing as how a hardcore fan would be on the website and buying out merch and album plaques, and they're doing that because they feel as though I support her, I know her, and that's not the same thing. But it's just a topic that I think is really touchy because even you see Nicki Minaj fans, and Nicki, I love Nicki, I love her music, but it can get toxic sometimes, and that's what a lot of fan bases. But I'm only using Nicki Minaj's fan base as an example. I'm not saying anything bad about it because I don't want the barbs to come for me. I don't want them to come for me. Cause baby, I'm scared of the barbs. But sometimes there's specific barbs who get toxic, or Barty Gang. They get toxic, and it's just we push this artist so far where it's like you're protecting your friend, and I don't think we need to do that. But also, our generation is like that at the same time because we do it in reality with the people we love, we trust. We feel like we have to protect everyone or someone you feel is close to, but in reality, I don't think that's needed personally unless that person is literally incapable of doing so. But neither one of them is incapable of doing so. It's just so taxing on you, especially as a fan, to continuously feel like you have to protect your favorite artist all the time. Having to protect your favorite artist is taxing on you because they don't know you're doing it and you're focusing all your energy on protecting them when at the end game they don't even know you're protecting them. They're seeing all these other people posting, and then all they have to do is just say, "Thank you guys for supporting me," and you're content. That's emotionally taxing because what if you don't get that? What if you don't get your validation that you want, and then it becomes some hate towards one of your favorite people? Just protect yourself. Protect yourself mentally as a fan. I think get rid of that persona that you are, them. That's all I have to say on that. I'm not gonna push anything forward. I'm not gonna say anything else because I think if I do, it might become, something I don't need to speak on. And I don't wanna not have to speak on it. But my next topic is really gonna be about baddies. And y'all know baddies. I'm speaking on baddies, yes. Baddies so far, I haven't been watching Caribbean like that. I'm not gonna lie. Baddies Caribbean has been okay. I've seen a couple episodes. My friend makes me watch it with her. It's a good show. I think I do have a lot of opinions. Like, I think Natalie needs to take a step back and help new girls push their dreams instead of prolonging hers. Because it's either EP or castmate. I don't feel like she should be both. That's personally because you don't need it anymore. You've made your money. As you said, you make so much money as EP. You've gotten everything you wanted. I don't know why stay as a castmate where you could go to the meetings and get paid for casting people and having the show be a hit. You can get paid for the streams. You get paid regardless. So being a castmate, I feel like doesn't bring her nothing but unwanted drama. Or no, because she starts drama. Natalie Nunn, Miss Nunn, starts drama. She just acts oblivious and she doesn't know what's going on apparently. But then she starts it and then she goes with her famous iconic line before they move to the house. Anybody got some beef before we move to the next house? We got to squash all this shit and make sure we can't bring it to the next city. And then 5 people fighting. There have been 5 fights because Miss Nunn told them to squash some beef. And then it comes back up in the second city. She loves drama. But I think it's also good for the show, and I think that's why she's doing it, because she's using her executive producer mindset to get more interactive things for the audience. But it comes at cost for the girls because now she done put me out here kinda and I gotta fight somebody now. Like that happened in Baddies Caribbean. If you guys haven't seen it, there was a girl Slim and there was a girl Tia. They got set at reserves or set home or something like that. And I was just like, who? First, because I haven't been watching it. I'm not even gonna lie. It's just not interesting to me. The fighting's not interesting to me. I feel like whenever I get on it, someone's arguing, someone's fighting, and I'm not a combative person. So I hate seeing people fight. But I was watching the episode, I was watching clips in episode, everything like that. And, you know, they put them out the house. They put Dee out the house because they don't feel like they can communicate well with her or something along that line. I felt like that was a bad reasoning because she was the only Caribbean person that was actually raised in the Caribbean there. You know, Biggie's Dominican Republic, but she's not from the Dominican Republic. Like, there was nobody who actually was Caribbean there except her. But I also get it too because she wasn't really bringing anything to the show. You know, she was just Tinkerbella. Yeah. She was just her sidekick in a sense. Like they just was walking around following her and automatically became friends with her. When I'm like, y'all just met this girl. It's just y'all just saw her. Like there's no way that's your homegirl now and y'all friends automatically. And a real big topic I know about Baddies Caribbean right now is the Gretchen and the N-word situation. And I am gonna say something. I know some people are gonna be mad, like, and I know it's gonna be black people, but just know I'm black too. So it can't be all this and that. I'm black too. But my opinion, personally, I'm not gonna get mad about someone saying the N-word who's not black. I think if you're saying it to me as offensive, then yes. But I think if that's the way how you talk and you've grown like that and it hasn't been derogatory for you, but it's also depending on where you come from. Because in New York, that's a whole different world. You know, everybody on that show is really Southern belles and they're from Alabama and Texas and, you know, Tennessee. Like they're Southern people. So it's like only black people say that in the Southern or East, like, you know, only black people say it. But New York, that's a whole different world. That's so many different cultures that's been mixed into one. So everyone says it. Everyone says the N-word. Everyone is saying it. Asians, white people, Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, everyone's saying it. So I think that's why I kind of understood her a little bit because I'm like, she comes from a city where that word has no meaning really. It's just an expression of when you're angry or where you're sad or where you're mad. Like it's just an expression where in New York. Whereas in the South, someone who's not black saying it could be derogatory and it could be you're being rude to me, you're talking down on me. So I can understand both sides, but I think they didn't consider Gretchen's side or didn't think about how even when she said my grandfather is black, I am also black. They also didn't consider anything about where Gretchen's from, how she grew up, or even how she's like Puerto Rican or she's Latino descent, and Latino descent is African descent. So they're also not thinking about that too, where it's like Latino descents are African descents. They were just dropped off somewhere else in South America. So they might be less black than somebody else who's from the South and they know their family were slaves actually and all these different things than somebody who's Latino and they don't know that they have, if they have black, like Afro Latinas. You can't say Afro Latinas. You see the melanin, but when you see one without melanin, is all of a sudden like, oh, you can't do this. But it's like I'm the same thing that she is. Like how Evelyn Lozada on Basketball Wives, it was a big controversy for some black people that she was saying it. But she's Afro Latina. She's black and Latina. But she doesn't have as much melanin as a darker or caramel skinned person who's black with both parents. And it became something where we base the N word on your skin tone instead of your demographic. We can't keep on focusing on skin tone because that was what they did in the 1960s, in the 40s, in the 30s. That's what we did when we were still segregated, is that we focused on skin tone and we're looping back. We can't keep looping back because everybody's mixed now. Everybody has something of someone. So, and it's not good to say it. I don't think it's good to say it at all. You really shouldn't. But people will continue to say it. And some have to adjust and some don't. I'm not going to say, yes, they should have never attacked her. I think they attacked her. I don't think they have a valid reason to attack her because I didn't see anything where she was just like, oh, fuck y'all, fuck y'all, fuck y'all. No, I didn't see that. But I think Jayla took her saying the N word as an aggression in that you're coming at me rather than she a New Yorker. Because that's how I see it. I see it like I hear her accent, I'm like, oh, she a New Yorker, like she talk rough. That's how I see it because I'm more knowledgeable per se. I'm more knowledgeable. I know more about different people and from where they come from. I've met people from a whole bunch of different places. So I'm more knowledgeable on how others talk rather than someone who's been in the same type of social circle with the same type of people all the time. So I give her some credit or some kind of leeway because she's a Southern Belle and she's around people who are most likely always Southern, or she's just around black people who are darker in skin than a light skinned person be or a mixed Latino person would be. So she's always around someone around her skin tone. Whereas Gretchen is around people who of all different colors, different shades, different textures are saying it. So they just grew up in two different backgrounds, which neither one of them are right because they both just had lots of problems with people or they had some unnecessary actions that didn't have a cause or an effect for them. But they're both just stupid. Let's be totally fair. They're both stupid. Dime in the body. Yeah, Dime in the body is a weirdo. But I loved Dime in the body before this. I don't know what happened. Like in the span of like a year or two, I have no idea what happened. Because I felt like she used to be really cool. I felt like I always used to see her have fun. Like I know she makes music. I haven't heard any recently. But I always saw her as a fun, dope person. But now when I see her on this, like, she created that problem with Tinkerbella and used that as her driving force. And like she said, I got you on the show, which was not true because they just were weird. And they're just fighting and fighting and fighting. And she's like, well, I'm not going to forgive her. I'm not going to wipe no ass or all this other stuff. I'm like, it's not about that. You caused the beef. Y'all fighting because of her, like because you hit her. It doesn't make sense. But Tinkerbella, she was going over it like pretty calmly at first. I feel like too. Like I give her props because she went over it calmly first, and then it's like, if she apologized to me, I'm cool. Then she was just like, I'm not gonna apologize to you, and that's where it all just broke down. And same thing with Meatball. Meatball, I didn't know that they have like somebody related. That's why they all some family background or something like that. Some family background. And she Meatball as a castmate, don't feel like she brings anything to the show. I just haven't seen her do anything where I'm like, I want to see what she does next week. Rather than for Scotty, there's some episodes where I'm like I'm ready to see Scotty do something, and there's some episodes where I'm like she needs to chill out and sit down and fix her braids. Like there's some episodes where I'm like we need more structure because it don't look like they do much. Like it look like they go party, they argue. I don't see y'all sitting down and eating. Like where's the food? I don't see no food. I be watching them episodes and like I saw a thing where yeah, recently Kiva, Big Kiva, and or it was I don't know who it was, but Meatball was carrying around a knife and was gonna stab her, and that's why she like left home because it was an unsafe situation. But they said that she left home because she was missing her family. And I'm like, not y'all gonna lie just to keep Meatball safe. But Meatball's always been like that. She's always been like that. If you ever knew her or stayed caught up with her, you would know that Meatball has been crazy. And she's gonna stay crazy, I think. She's just been a whirlwind of emotions, I think. Because when Tinka got the baddies chain, Meatball was just really weird. Like, Meatball didn't seem happy for her, but she seemed like she just had animosity for her winning something or doing and getting something that she kind of deserved at that point, because Tinka defended herself pretty well. She made her statement and her point known, and it was kind of like, okay, why you not supporting me? We knew each other out of it. We sisters. Like, why are you not supporting me? And I was like, oh yeah. She's Meatball was crazy, and then she fought Gretchen too, and then she fought like Gretchen like 3 times, I think. They're just ooh, Baddies Caribbean is a whirlwind. Tasiki, everyone's saying Tasiki is boring, but I think Tasiki is really giving Sky right now, because Sky, like, everybody expected to see Sky on from Black Ink crew, but she's grown so much since then that, you know, when she was there, she was in her own lane, but she was still having fun and being close, trying to be closer to everyone. And I think that's what Tasiki is on this season, is that being close to everyone and staying in her own lane instead of always trying to protect someone. Because, like, she don't need to protect nobody. Like, she let Anna and Mariah handle their own business when they got into all that altercation and, you know, all the fighting and all that other stuff about her mom hitting Anna and all the just a whole bunch of bullshit. Tasiki just is staying in her lane and she's minding her business. And that's all she needs to do. She needs to, because after last season, she went through too much hurt to keep on going back and having to fight and protect people and not knowing where, like, she comes from or how she comes. You know, she needs to stay in her own lane from now on, I really think, because that's what's best interest for her, because she seems to get taken for granted a lot. Because I think she bonds and then she loves so hard that it overtakes her as a whole. Because the Mariah being like, it just feeling like you pick a side, but it's like, I'm on this side because security right here first. It's like security was in their way, but first of all, I have to calm down either one of the parties, and Anna's doing more than you. So I'm going to stay near Anna's side. That's how I saw it. I'm going to stay near Anna's side because, first off, Anna's already hurt. She got her face fractured. Second, she's doing a lot more than you as of being loud and yelling and talking shit. So I'm going to stay over here. That's how I view that and going to calm her down, because that's what it looked as. As Mariah, she's more as like, she runs her mouth, then she backs up. She runs her mouth, then she backs up. You know, she wasn't all the way in it trying to get at it. Baddies just been a whirlwind, y'all. Y'all have no idea how Baddies, I think, is a good franchising, because they're doing well. But I think that they need to hone more on what they're actually going to do as a show. I think sooner or later it's going to get old and that they just argue and fight all day. Because if they argue and fight all day, we should see more. Not of fightings, but I think we should see more of them doing experiences. Like, I would love to see a video skydiving. I would love to see a video bungee jumping. You know, just them having experiences and going out and actually having fun as a group. Like, I didn't like that nature walk. Why am I seeing a nature walk? I didn't come here to see nature. I came here to see y'all do some extravagant shit. I'm trying to see how y'all actually spend y'all money. I'm trying to see how rich people eat. They ain't showing us that. They showing us all this bougetto stuff, like walking around in the woods and shit. I don't want to see that. But, like, let's not linger too long on that topic, because I think Baddies could really be like an hour-long talk. But the next thing I'm going to talk about, and this is going to be a really short thing I'm going to talk about, because it's not like something I want to focus on too much, but it's kind of like there was something going on where Speed jumped over 2 cars or something like that. Like, Speed jumped over some cars. And I really was starting thinking about the streamer business, because Streamers make a lot of money, but I was also thinking like, I haven't seen one who's transparent. I haven't seen someone. Well, the that's really just influencers in general. I haven't seen their transparency, but streamers, I think it's become a money game instead of I love my fans. But I also think their fans are really dangerous. They're dangerous. I saw the video of Kai Cenat. Somebody jumped into his car and he had to forcefully pull the person out his car. Then fan slammed the car door on his leg, and it was too much going on. And I'm like, if you're that famous, why don't you have security? Where is your security during all of this? That was my question. And Speed, the same thing happened to Speed when he went to like some European country, and people was jumping on top of his car and doing all this stuff. I'm like, where's y'all security? They need to get out the car and go get these people and move them. Y'all ain't gonna spend no money on no security. Y'all famous. Like, what's going on? And then Speed jumped over those two cars. And I think he got banned for that too, actually. Yeah, he got banned for that because he jumped over two cars. Streamers have been just really influential over our generation. Like, very influential over our generation. You have no idea how many, like, streamers I've seen go famous. And then I'm just like, why did they go famous? Like, Speed, I don't know why he went famous. I don't know, and I still don't know. Kai Cenat, I don't know how. Streamers are just crazy. They do crazy stunts. They did like Mr. Beast and him. They built a whole set just to set off fireworks. And I'm like, y'all spent months and all this money replicating his room. And I'm like, y'all crazy. But then it got him a lot more money than he spent. So I'm like, they're smart, but they're crazy, but they're weird, if that makes sense. Like streamers, I think they care about their communities from a virtual perspective because they respond to chat. But then I think like in person, I don't see that happening. I don't see it at all. Like streamers, it's just more about being personal than what we gotta do. Cause like I think they stream because it's like a necessity because you gotta pay bills and stuff. But I also think they don't really connect with their fans well as streamers used to. The streamers I used to watch, like they were people who actually connected to their fans and would have events just for their fans and spend money out of their pocket. Now streamers are like, okay, I'm doing a sponsored event. I don't have to pay nothing. They pay me. Like, they do those type of things now. It's become a money industry, which sadly that's what happened to a lot of things. It's become money, money, money. But also the world runs on money, so we all need a little coin. We all need a little. Our purses need to be full. Our purse bags, a little coin purses. They all need to have a little dollar or dime. Last topic of this podcast episode is going to be about podcasters. It's going to be about podcasters and how I want my podcast to progress and what I see for my podcast in the future. Because for me, podcasters right now, they're not seen in a good light. It's nothing nice. Like the interviewers, like there's nobody good anymore, if that makes sense. I see lots of misogynistic and belittling type of people, where also there are good podcasts where you sit down and like Kiki Palmer, B Simone, like those are the type of podcasts I listen to, where I can enjoy them actually talking about a topic other than me watching a podcast of a man talking down on a woman and saying her experiences don't mean shit. I'd rather not. Podcasters have become most people who get into the podcasting industry, I don't think they get into it for the right reasons. I think personally you should be a podcaster because you want to share information, you want to speak truth, but you want to help listeners. I think most of all see a voice where they can understand and be in comparison with. Like, I want to sit and listen to this person because I can compare with their experiences and also love what they're talking about instead of being like, ah, ha ha ha, oh, they're funny. Like, I don't feel like what you should be talking about is funny unless it's actually funny. Like, it should not be funny unless you're actually trying to tell a joke and it's funny. If it's funny because you're talking down on a woman And her trying to defend herself is made a joke is not good. It's not good because I think in the future that makes you look bad. And also, if you have a daughter, you have a daughter and they see you talking down on a woman in an interview, but you don't talk down on your wife, of course, that's a problem because internet tracks history. Internet has tracked your history. They track your videos are forever because people repost, people reuse, and they recycle. Your videos are forever. And I think people need to start thinking about how it will be viewed in the future instead of the present because the present is going to make you money, but the future going to steal that money in a heartbeat because the way how you treat people always going to come back 360. I believe in karma. I do my tarot and I look at it like it's everything. I know everything. Like I'm not going to sit back and do something bad and not expect my karma. And these people don't believe it. They don't believe it at all. Cause me, my podcast, I'm really gonna just be focused on giving myself a voice I never had. I think that's what really is this gonna be about. And also giving voices to people who deserve it. Because I'm gonna have artists on my podcast sooner or later. So I wanted to give people voices to explain who they are, their situation, and promote themselves. Because if it's somebody who actually can do it and I believe it, why wouldn't I support them? And if somebody I support heavily, I'm going to support your dream because that shows you that I am speaking my truth when I tell you that. Like, I don't want to be the person where it's like, oh my God, I really love your music and then not post nothing. Like, that's weird. And that's what my podcast is going to be for me is more as a seeker than seeking. Like, I'm going to look for people and interview them and then I'm going to post it. Money is really not of importance to me for my podcast. If more of, how do I explain it? My podcast for me is more of, okay, I just started my podcast. I got something to talk about. McCreechy, obviously, sip sip. But it's more of I want y'all to sit here, listen to this, and be like, oh, he really speaking some shit. Like the tea is not always gonna be about entertainment. It's gonna be a reference, but it's always gonna be a bigger picture. We always gotta see the bigger picture because I'm a person, I'm an advocate, I'm always gonna give my advice. Mental health advocate, women's right, LGBTQ plus, like everything. I advocate, but we have to have our opinions. We have to speak on them, and we also have to listen to others' opinions so that we can come to a reasoning as a whole. And I think that's what we struggle in now as a generation, because everyone seems to be right for some reason. Like no one seems to be wrong anymore. And nothing's wrong with being right. Like nothing's wrong with feeling right. But I think when you don't have your own voice of reasoning, that's when it becomes a problem. And my podcast is going to be my voice of reasoning that hopefully can help other people find their voice of reasoning when they listen to this and really think about what I speak on. Like this whole podcast, especially this first episode, it has to be the groundwork for this first season because we know I'm gonna come back for a second season, babes, and we're gonna keep expanding and we're gonna keep growing, and I'm gonna grow myself, I'm gonna grow my business, I'm gonna grow my empire, and I want to bring y'all along. And especially because this most likely will be where I speak on the backgrounds of everything I do that goes out on social media and out to this podcast. This could be the backgrounds where there's just a no filter episode and I talk about all the shit I'm going through. Like, you never know. This, like, there could be an episode where, like, just anytime I'll just be like, we got to sit down and talk. For real, for real. No shade, no tea. Talk. I don't know if y'all gonna see that or hear that because this podcast is going to be in video form, and that's also a big old step too because you know everything I gotta do I am doing it alone. This is a one-man team. Well, I do have my friend helping me, but the people who are helping me isn't that big, so I'm content with what I can give now until I can grow and really prosper and make sure that I can watch it form into something new. And I hope y'all can grow with me and follow and make sure you want to have a voice because there is going to be days I start my Discord and then we just hop in the Discord link and I live stream and we talk. You know, like people who need advice, we're talking. You know, it's always opportunity to grow and hear your ideas and hear your inputs and your thoughts on what you think I should do for this podcast. Because your voices matter, because you're literally listening to my voice. Like, I'm not going to sit here, make a podcast, and then be like, I'm not going to listen to what my fans say. Why? That's the whole point of the podcast. We get topics for a reason. They help with the talk. But I'm going to quit rambling, y'all. I'm going to let y'all go. I'm going to go ahead and let y'all go, and hope y'all really enjoyed this first episode of this podcast. I'm really putting a lot into this podcast. I'm going to be upping the quality and just going through the motions of learning and advancing the podcast to everything that I can do. But I really hope y'all enjoyed this first episode. If you do have a viewpoint on this, please leave a comment or even go to my Instagram and just leave a comment on the post, because after every episode, I'm going to say voice your opinion. And we going to see what y'all think after y'all listen to this episode. But you got to make it through the whole thing, so you know. But thank you for listening to McCree Tea. We was sipping some tea, and it might not have been hot this time, but it's going to get hot.